What's going on, guys? What's cracking? Today is, well, trans cooler day. So what we're gonna be going over today is we're gonna be installing the Powerhouse Racing trans cooler, along with showing you guys how to make your own AN lines out of PTFE material from Red Horse Fittings. Got the Red Horse Fittings shirt on right now. So I'll be showing you what fittings you need, how much line you need, and showing you guys how to make it yourself. So if you guys wanna do that, follow along. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to put on the cooler from Powerhouse Racing also, where the brackets need to go, and how this all needs to be put together. I got a little ahead of myself here, so let me back up a little bit. So this is what you'll get in the kit from Powerhouse Racing. So first off, you'll get this sweet cooler. The Powerhouse Racing logo is upside down right here. But it is a Powerhouse Racing cooler. They use this for a trans cooler, and you could use it as an oil cooler. It comes with these -8 orb fittings, so it goes from a -8 orb to a -6 fitting. And then from there, it comes with these brackets. So you get these 3 brackets here, and then it comes with this Y bracket here. So I'll show you guys again where to put them. It has little slots in it so you can move it around. So I'll show you where each bracket goes. You're gonna wanna leave this all loose. And then you're gonna show you how to tighten it up. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it, but you need to make sure you put the brackets in the right spot. And for this, we're gonna be running the lines this way because our trans comes out, the trans line come out this way. For running for an oil cooler, you would flip flop it and run it that way. So let's go ahead and throw this up on the car and show you guys how it looks. All right, guys, so I wanted to show you exactly how this needs to be mounted. Now, I want to make sure it's clear here. This is the orientation if you're running it for the transmission. Now, if you're running it for an oil cooler, I'll show you here. These fittings here, you want to flip-flop this cooler. So you want to flip it so the fittings will be coming out that side, because obviously the oil cooler and stuff's naturally on this side of the engine. So for my setup, I have it facing this way because I'm going to run it for the transmission with the fittings coming off that side of the trans. So I want to show you which brackets go where. Okay, so we have our first bracket here, which comes up and like kind of, I always call it like a T almost, a large T. So it comes up like this. You can see from underneath how it should be. Bolts into those 2 spots. So you can see here, you want to keep this one open because if you have a Powerhouse Racing intercooler, that's where it bolts to. And then you use this little bracket here on the other bottom side. Again, this uses only 10 millimeters for 2 here, 1 here, or sorry, 1 here, a 10 millimeter there, and a 10 millimeter there. And then up top here, we have these brackets. I want to make sure you guys can see these here. Okay, so you have your bracket here. And now for me, for what I did, I used the back bolts too, by the way. If you can see here, I want to make sure it's clear. I used the back holes. I didn't use the front ones. I used the back holes because I wanted to make sure there's some air gap between it here. All right, you can see the bracket I used for that one. And then I did the same over here. All right, again, use the back holes of this. All right, you're mounting on the back, not the front. Hold the back hole of this cooler to give it some airspace, and this should clear the Powerhouse Racing intercooler also. And then you have a 12 here to go on this little tab right here, and then you have the tab here again. Again, these are 12 millimeter bolts, and again, that's a 10, and that's a 10. See if I can get another angle here. I want to show you guys as much as I possibly can, so you guys can see up in there. See how it fits in. Again, this is all slotted items too, so you can play around to get it to fit exactly how you want. So I left it all loose, put all the bolts in, and then slowly tighten the whole configuration up. And it fits really well. It's not hitting my AC, which I thought it was going to. So you can see there, it actually clears. Sorry, so much black on black. It's really having a hard time trying to find lighting in here. So it doesn't hit the AC lines or anything. So we're good. Next thing we got to do is actually make the transmission lines itself. So let's go over and start doing that. And here we go, guys. Now it's time for the Red Horse fittings. At this time, this is what I think we're going to need for all of this, okay? So this is all the fittings and the line you'll need. I got about 20 feet of PTFE line here. I think roughly you would need 15, but I want a little extra to be safe because it's my first time doing it. I've got the Red Horse clamp here, and I'll show you how this works there in a minute. This is what you use to hold the fittings so they don't get marred up. This is made of aluminum and then anodized black, and I'll show you how it holds these AN fittings. On top of that then, we have a bunch of -6 fittings. This is all -6, so this is PTFE -6 line. Again, you're gonna need about 15 to 20 feet of this. And then we have some parts here. So we got a 90, we've got a straight fitting, another straight fitting, and then we've got a 45 I wanna put on the transmission. And right now we've got 3 clamps that'll hold the lines together, keep them from moving around. I have a couple more coming just to be safe. I don't want them moving and chafing on anything. And I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna fire sleeve it, just for the fact that it is going to be on the hot side of the engine. And the last thing I want happening is the hot side of the engine burning through this. So I'm gonna make sure we try and clear as much as we can. But let's go ahead and start cutting up this line and start installing it on the car. Okay guys, so what we're gonna do here is start with our Dash 6 PTFE line. So you can see here, it is still taped off from the factory. They cut it, obviously put tape around it. This is to keep it from flaring out from the braids inside. What you're gonna need to do is take the fitting that you're going to use and then take it apart. So I'm gonna spin off the backside here. I'll show you here what it looks like because there's a little olive inside. You'll notice, there it is. You'll notice this little olive inside. This is one of the differences between a regular hose and these PTFE lines. This will go in between the actual rubber PTFE line inside and the actual metal braid. And I'll show you how to do that here. But the first thing you need to do, you need to take this apart because you're gonna need this little piece here. You're gonna need the bottom half because you need to slip this on first and foremost before you can do anything else. Before you even start taking this apart, because you're gonna have to cut off the sheathing here, you need to go ahead and slip this on. So I'm gonna take this here like so, and if you need to, put lubricant on it. You shouldn't need anything, we'll see here. Might even eat my own words, we'll see, come on. The one thing that helps, obviously, is taking the tape off. That little bit of tape makes it a little bit harder to actually get on. So if we can get it here, and there we go. That tape, literally, there's that little bit of thickness of tape, because this fits on there pretty tight getting it past this one point. Just having that little bit of tape on there was making it impossible. Now it slides on with ease, but you need to put this on first. Now what you need to do next is you need to grab your other male end fitting. And you can see here it has a small, smooth area. What you need to do is line it up with the end here. So get the focus, and you can get it to line up with the end here. And what you're going to do is you're going to mark where you need to cut this. So I'm gonna use a silver Sharpie, and we need to cut out this outside black sheathing area. Underneath that is a steel braided line. So all you need to do is take off the black sheathed area. And the way I do this is you can either use a X-Acto knife like so, or I actually use a brake cutter tool because it gives a nice perfect circle the whole way around. And I just think it to be a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and mark that with the silver Sharpie. Now that I've marked it with the silver Sharpie, another tool that I use from Red Horse is this here. This is a bead spreader. So what you do with this, and it helps keep something like this intact, is you stick it inside, and this keeps that rubber plastic tubing, the PTFE part of it, intact and not getting squished down. I try to use this as much as I can so it doesn't get messed up. This takes 2 hands here, so I need to literally hold the hose in the back, press this in, and this will also give me rigidity as I cut the line here, and it doesn't cave in on itself. Once you've made your cut the whole way around, you can take your then X-Acto knife here, or your razor blade, and you can cut a small slit going this way. You can cut a small slit from here, from where you cut it the whole way around, cut it down this way, and then you can peel off the sheathing. Now you can use your finger, or if you have something else like a pick tool, you can, and pull this off. And voila. You want to do this because we need to fit the olive in between the actual metal sheathing here and the actual PTFE. It goes in between it. So let's go ahead and grab that olive. I'm going to go ahead and pull this tool out here. And what we need to do next is we need to bend back just ever so slightly. Don't go crazy. Just bend back ever so slightly the little metal layer here. Again, this has to go out because that little olive needs to go in between. Now again, don't go too crazy here. So you get to focus there. You don't want to go too crazy. That should be good enough. So again, what we're going to do here is we're going to take this little olive, and again, you can see just here, see how I separated that bead? All right, get it to focus. See how I separated that bead there, or separated the actual metal part of the hose? So now we need to take this little olive here, and we're going to put that around. Now be careful too, those metal ends are very sharp. So press that in like so. Now when you do so, it should bottom out. You should feel it like click in almost. Now I might not have spread this enough, so I might need to do some more. Yeah, it's got a little bit more to go yet. You can see in there, it's not fully seated. I need to press a little bit more. I'm gonna have to hold the back of the hose here, and then I can show you doing the last little bit of this. Okay, so now if you can see, you can just barely see the white little lip inside there. That's what we're looking for. We want it seated right up against that little furrow, that little collar there. Now what you're gonna do next is we're going to grab where I put the fitting at, right there. We're gonna grab this fitting here. And now we're gonna take this, I'm gonna put a little bit of lubricant on this. Okay, they make actual AN lubricant, and we're gonna stick this inside, and then we're gonna pull this up on to this piece here. And you should be able to screw the first little bits on. One thing I wanna note too, if you need to, you can trim off some of these metal edges here, because you don't want it getting up too far into the threads, or don't really get into the threads at all. So if you see it really lipping over that little brass area there, stop, back it off, make sure you snip that off just a few little bit there, and then try putting it back on again. All right guys, so I've put a little bit of oil on it here, and what I'm going to do is let that seep down just a little bit, roll it in like so, And now that hole should be good. Now, make sure that presses in. There we go. Now, what I'm gonna do is, I'm literally gonna pull and push at the same time. You'll see this here, it's gonna come up together. I'm gonna pull like so, as I pull up, and then twist this on. Now, it should twist on by hand for the first little bit, and then the rest. So now I've got those together, guys. I need to take my wrench here. This is specific for installing these. This side here is called a 6S. Now this side is not. This is not designed for just installing. This is used for installing just regular fittings, but it'll suffice for what I need to do here. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hold that and then spin that around. Make sure the hose doesn't pull off. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the camera there. Alrighty, now what I'm going to do, back that off some. I'm gonna put this actually in the vise here itself. You'll see that this Red Horse vise actually has notches in it designed to actually hold these fittings. So now what I can do is, now that takes a lot of the headache out for me, I can literally use the vise to hold it for me, not worry about my fittings getting scratched up, and then use this 6S side of this wrench to install this. Now, one thing I wanna make sure of, you're never gonna see this fully seat. This is going to have somewhat of a gap when all said and done. Let's go a little bit more. And I always try to get it to look pretty, as in flat side to flat side. I don't want like a flat side of the fitting to have a jagged edge. It's one thing I always drives me crazy. Again, taking my time here as I want this to look right. And I might get another little turn out of it here. Let's see if I can get one more. Let's get it to line up flat to flat. There we go. It's flat to flat. And now let's take that off. And this is how it should look when done, guys. You'll see here I made sure it has flat to flat edge. There's a slight bit of gap there, just an ever so small slight gap, and everything still spins freely, and it is tight. It is on there. I know a lot of people complain about PTFE lines. I personally very rarely use them. Today, modern Viton lines that you can also get from Red Horse are just so much better than what they were in the years past, that they just don't have any issues. They don't break down. E85 transmission, they can handle all of that. Are these somewhat superior in resistance to fuel breakdown? Absolutely. And transmission breakdown, all that kind of things. But they are a little bit more time intensive, as you can tell from today's video. So now that I've got that fitting on, we can start routing all of our lines. I want to say again, big shout out to Red Horse Performance for helping with today's video. Without them, I wouldn't be able to give you this kind of content, help build my wife's car. I wouldn't be doing all these crazy AN lines. Without them and out this type of support, these type of quality builds would not happen. Sponsorship is a big part of this. You know, it's a big part. That's the same thing with Powerhouse Racing. I can't thank Powerhouse, Red Horse, Joel Granis, all these guys that have helped me over the years. I can't thank these companies enough. Without them, stuff like my wife's car, my car would not be possible. You know, I'm one guy, I've got twins, I've got everything else coming on in my life right now. And I always get like, it sounds like I get emotional because it means a lot. Like these companies are putting a lot of trust in me to do this. So I can't thank them enough. Guys, please check them out. They make a little bit of everything. Like I said, I've got fuel pumps, I've got regulators, I've got heat sleeving here. We've got PTFE, we've got regular Viton line. They make every fitting, everything you would need fuel or almost air related, down to literally AN caps. They've got it, guys. Go check them out. Thank you guys again very much for tuning in. We're working on my car some more. We got the intake manifold install to go over. We got some more to do. I'll show you guys in the next video how to run your lines for your automatic transmission setups with your Powerhouse Racing cooler. Thank you guys very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.